Have you ever watched someone you love lie so convincingly that you start to question your own reality? The night my world shattered didn't begin with a fight. It began with the soft glow of a phone screen at 2 a.m. in our Chicago bedroom. My wife Sarah was asleep, or so I thought. I saw her thumb swipe, then pause. Her face, illuminated in that cold blue light, wasn't the face of the woman I'd married. It was the face of a stranger. Small, satisfied smile played on her lips as she read a message I couldn't see. And in that moment, I knew. Something was terribly wrong. I held my breath, pretending to be asleep, but every instinct screamed that I was watching the end of my life as I knew it. The question wasn't if she was cheating, but how deep the betrayal went. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 15 years, Sarah and I had built what I thought was a fortress. A brownstone in Lincoln Park, 2 kids in private school, a life polished to a high shine. I worked in finance, long hours downtown, but every sacrifice was for us, for the future we planned together. But after that night, I started noticing the cracks. It was subtle at first. She started having late work dinners with her marketing team. Then came the weekend yoga retreats that left her more drained than refreshed. The receipts told a different story. A dinner for 2 at a ridiculously expensive restaurant in the Gold Coast when she was supposedly at a team meeting. Charged from the Waldorf Astoria when her retreat was supposed to be in a rustic cabin upstate. The lies were piling up, each one a brick in the wall she was building between us. When I gently asked, her eyes would turn to ice. Are you questioning me, Mark? After everything I do for this family, maybe you're the one who's distant. She was a master manipulator, twisting my concern into an accusation, making me feel like the villain. The man she was seeing, I soon found out, was her boss, a slick, arrogant guy named Julian. I'd met him once at a company party. He had that smug, untouchable air of a man who takes what he wants. The thought of his hands on my wife, in hotel rooms I was paying for, sent a current of pure rage through me. I felt humiliated, pathetic. I was the good husband, the provider, the fool. The breaking point came on a rainy Tuesday. I came home early to surprise the kids and found the house empty. A piece of paper was on the kitchen island. It was a booking confirmation. 2 first-class tickets to Miami, leaving that Friday, for Julian and S. Miller, not S. Davis, my name, my life. She was erasing me. I stumbled back against the counter, the smooth, cold marble, doing nothing to stop the fire in my gut. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Something inside me just snapped. The man who loved Sarah Davis died in that kitchen. In his place stood someone else, someone cold and methodical. The time for heartbreak was over. It was time for a reckoning. My grief turned into fuel. I stopped sleeping and started planning. I was no longer a husband. I was a strategist. First, I hired the best private investigator in Chicago, a gruff, no-nonsense ex-cop, who understood the mission without me having to spell out the rage behind it. He was my ghost, documenting every secret meeting, every lie. While he gathered evidence, I played the part of the oblivious, slightly worried husband. I'd ask Sarah if she was okay. If she was stressed, she'd pat my arm, a condescending gesture of pity, and say, "I'm fine, honey, just busy." She had no idea she was walking into a perfectly constructed trap. Legally, I was preparing for war. I met with a shark of a divorce attorney in a discreet office on LaSalle Street. We opened a new bank account, and I began methodically moving half of our liquid assets, the half I was legally entitled to. Every bonus, every investment dividend. I documented every dollar Sarah spent from our joint accounts on her affair, the hotels, the dinners, the gifts for him. I compiled a mountain of evidence, photos of them kissing in a parking garage off Michigan Avenue, audio recordings of their phone calls where they mocked me, copies of the Miami flight confirmation. The pie was worth every penny. He even got security footage from the Waldorf Astoria lobby, them checking in, her hand possessively on Julian's arm. Socially, I laid the groundwork for her downfall. Sarah cared more about her reputation than anything. Her perfect image as the successful career woman, doting mother, and charity board member was her entire identity. I waited for the annual fundraiser gala she chaired, the biggest social event of her year. It was her coronation. 2 days before the gala, On the day they were supposed to leave for Miami, I made my move. I came home from work, and she was packing. Small, stylish suitcase for her solo wellness trip. The lie was so effortless for her now. "You look tired, Mark," she said, zipping the bag. "I'm not the one flying to Miami with my boss," I replied, my voice calm, flat. The color drained from her face. For the first time, I saw panic in her eyes. "What are you talking about?" she stammered. I tossed a thick manila envelope onto the bed. "This is what I'm talking about." She opened it. Her hands trembled as she saw the photos, the hotel receipts, the transcripts of her calls. The mask of the perfect wife fell away, revealing the deceitful creature beneath. She started to cry, to beg, to promise it was a mistake, but I felt nothing. I was looking at a stranger. "You need to cancel this trip," I said coldly. "You have a gala to attend tomorrow night. Your whole world will be there." She stared at me, confused. "And you will go. We'll smile and you will give your speech. If you don't, this envelope goes to every person on the guest list, to the school board, and to your company's HR department. And Julian's wife? I believe she lives in Winnetka." Sarah's face turned to ash. I owned her. The next night, at the Drake Hotel's grand ballroom, she was a ghost in a designer gown. She moved through the crowd, smiling, accepting compliments, but her eyes were hollow. I watched from the back of the room. When she got on stage to give her big speech, her voice trembled. Just as she started, a single, large projector screen behind her, which was supposed to be showing donor names, flickered to life. On it, a single photo appeared for all 500 guests to see: Sarah and Julian kissing passionately in the Waldorf lobby. A collective gasp filled the room. And another photo, the Miami flight confirmation. Then another, a text exchange where she called me her pathetic meal ticket. The room erupted in whispers, her friends, her colleagues, her social circle all staring. She stood frozen on the stage, exposed and utterly destroyed under the spotlight. She dropped the microphone and fled. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. She was fired. Her name was mud in every social circle in Chicago. Julian's wife filed for divorce, taking him for everything. Our divorce was swift. With the mountain of evidence, she got nothing. No alimony, no house, no dignity. I got full custody of the kids. I sold the brownstone and we moved away from the ghosts of Lincoln Park. Years later, I heard she was sick. A mutual acquaintance told me she was in hospice, her body failing her. She asked to see me one last time. I went not out of pity, but out of a cold, final curiosity. She was a withered version of the woman I once loved, propped up on pillows, the arrogance long gone, replaced by a desperate fear. "I'm sorry, Mark," she whispered, her voice a dry rasp. "I loved you. I really did. I just stood there, watching her face, searching for a flicker of the woman I married 15 years ago. But she wasn't there. She was a stranger." I turned and walked out of the room without saying a word. Some voids are too deep to ever be filled by an apology. The last thing I remember is the quiet click of the hospice room door closing behind me, sealing her in with her regrets.